har pratat här på fokusdagarna lite grann om kineseriet.
Ja,
kan du utveckla det lite grann?
Ja, precis. Det som jag helt enkelt sa tidigare idag på seminariet, det var att om man tittar på internetanvändningen nu, vi har 1,7 miljarder internetanvändare och av dem så bor 40% i Asien och en stor del av dem är då kineser eller naturligtvis indier också. Så att kinesifieringen delvis helt enkelt på grund av att en mycket större andel än tidigare av användarna är kineser. En mycket större andel av materialet på internet än tidigare är på kinesiska. Men också för att jag tycker att man kan se tendenser till förhållningssätt till internet från politikers sida som påminner dessvärre allt mer om det kinesiska. Alltså mer reglering, mer inblandning och så. Och det tycker jag är oroande.
Är kineseriet enbart ett problem?
Nej, självklart inte. Det är ju fantastiskt att alla dessa kineser nu kan använda internet. Och i stort är det ju någonting väldigt positivt för yttrandefriheten globalt sett. Så att verkligen inte.
Du pratar också lite grann om problemet med lata journalister.
Ja, precis. Men det har väl delvis att göra med många journalisters arbetssituation, kanske neddragningar på redaktionerna och så. Inte lika mycket pengar till reportageresor som tidigare. Så att jag tycker att man ser en kategori journalister som helt enkelt inte gör det journalistiska jobbet grundligt längre och som också är lata på så vis att de är lite väl fega när det gäller att använda internets möjligheter, de nya möjligheter som faktiskt finns.
Fega eller inkompetenta?
Både och, skulle jag säga. Lata.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's such an important time, and especially for Sweden, which is, the election is coming up on Sunday on the 9th of September. I think for people outside Sweden who don't know who you are yet, would you mind just saying your name and what it is that what your position was to start with, and then let's talk about what happened.
Yeah, my name is Bilyana Martinovski. I'm associate professor in human-machine interaction and a PhD in linguistics. My position was associate professor at the University of Stockholm, Department of Computer Systems. I've been also teaching at Gothenburg University in informatics and in linguistics. I've worked in Institute for Creative Technologies at the University of Southern California in California for about altogether 7 years.
Okay, so it's fair to say then that you were working in real sciences, not in the humanities. You were actually working in sciences which developed models that had genuine predictive value and that would not be infected too much by cultural Marxism. Is that right? Okay, let's go.
Definitely not into cultural Marxism.
Right. But so many disciplines now are right there. I mean, it's even some of the sciences I think have been tilted that way. But so you then went out and did a study, a very important sort of sociological study, or at least a study with sociological consequences, although you're working with empirical data and that had empirical findings. Is that right?
Yes, this is my work.
And would you mind telling us about the study you did?
You mean the study related to the crime and gang rapes in Sweden?
Yes, and the demography of the demographics of it and the consequences of that study. Yes, please.
Well, this is just personal. I didn't do. I suggested a research project, and the idea of the research project was to use virtual humans to support victims of aggravated and gang rapes, because these victims get post-traumatic stress disorder. And there are systems that are assisting such victims, and they are used in the United States, and they've been developed in the Institute for Creative Technologies, and they're used mainly for veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. But they're not used for victims of sexual crimes who do get post-traumatic stress disorder. So I was interested in that topic, and I thought it was a good research project. I formulated the project. In the process, I wanted to find out how many victims there are in Sweden, and try to check that. I found out that there is no official statistics. The statistics did not inform how many are aggravated, how many were with post-traumatic stress disorder, how many are of the rapists are convicted, and it was impossible to find out what was the background of either or the other, which is very important because whatever post-traumatic stress supportive system would rely on language, and you want to know what is the deepest language of the victim and how it experienced, how the victim experienced the rapist, what language they used or how they communicate. So there is no such statistics to this day in Sweden, official statistics. Then I found by chance online one site called gangrapesweden.com. And that site was listing all the gang rapes in Sweden. That is, all the verdicts, official verdicts of gang rape cases in for the past 5 years. And when you look at the statistics in each case, I wondered, well, is that really true? Because there were so many. So what I did is I contacted every district court in Sweden. There are 43 district courts. And I asked them to send me the ledgers for only rape cases. That could be aggravated rape cases, could be gang rapes, could be not aggravated cases, could be child rapes, anything that has to do with rapes in Sweden. And I was in shock when I received about 50 registered cases in the Swedish courts, district courts, from 2012 to 2017. 50,000. I mean, the country is pretty small. It's almost the size of a city, 10 million people. So for 10 million people, 50,000 rapes is quite a high number. And these are only the cases that have reached. That is, it means that there are much more cases, there are much more reports. So you can make a report for a rape to the police that is registered as a report, but then it has to go through a pre-investigation. And as it seems, as it appears, most of the police of rapes and gang rapes are stopped on the pre-investigation level, which means that the cases that I got from the courts, these 50,000 cases, are probably a double less than what people have actually reported. So we don't have, to this day, I don't have information of how many gang rapes and rapes are reported in Sweden for the past 5 years. I have information about how many of the reported cases have passed the pre-investigation level and has moved to the district courts. They have gotten a district court number. I know of cases which were very serious, aggravated rapes that never reached a court. And that means we have at least double as many rapes reported. That is more than 100,000. But there is no information about that. So what I did is I retweeted, because I found this on Twitter, and I retweeted information from this site, and I said it is true. It is. I can verify it. All the court cases that are listed on this site, although it was an American site, are correct. They exist. They have a number. This is the exact correct verdict for those that were convicted. Now, this was in. I started doing this in the summer of 2017. I communicated with one of my colleagues, and we agreed to make a project and how to define it so it doesn't become problematic. But before we could go forward with the idea of a virtual human system assisting rape victims with PTSD, I suddenly got a letter from my department at the university without any warning, without any previous interaction other than us discussing how to make a project, that it is not okay for the university that I have tweeted on politically sensitive issues and discussed politically sensitive issues, and that's why my CV and my associate professorship was removed from the university that same day. And there was no explanation, any other explanation than that. You were discussing politically sensitive issues on Twitter. That's not okay.
So let me just ask you a couple of questions, if I may, at this point. So the first thing is, the data set you were working on was based purely on convictions, right? Is that
Yes.
right?
The data set that this site published was based on convictions, on verdicts.
Right. So this means that you don't have access to numbers on total accusations, ones that went to trial but were dismissed for technical reasons or any other reason. The only data set you have is that there are 50,000 gang rape cases which actually made it all the way through trial right to a conviction. That's extraordinary, right?
No. I told you this. The ledgers I got from the district courts include all kinds of rapes, not only gang rapes. They include all kinds of rapes. They could be aggravated rapes, they could be child rapes, they could be non-aggravated rapes, it could be any kind of rape. But they all have as a main crime rape. Now. So these data are nowhere. Only I have these data, and they were not published anywhere else. There are so many. The lists are just so many that no one has ever published that. Only this site had published the gang rapes, the verdicts of the convicted gang rapes. That's all this site had published, nothing else. And then afterwards, other people got involved, and they published statistics on all rapes. Well, the same statistics that I had, the same data that I had, but they published them not on those that are reported to the courts, on those that are convicted. So again, convicted not only for gang rapes, but also for rapes and aggravated rapes and child rapes. So again, the data that I have for the 50,000 are not lifted forward. This number is not there because people are concentrating on the convicted cases. I mean, unless you claim that now just lately, we got statistics from a newspaper that and the state's kind of controlled TV. That there are 843,000 rape cases and convicted rape cases.
Can I get that number again? I'm sorry, I didn't understand the number.
They published a number of 843 convicted for the past 5 years. So they counted until they included also 2017. Now, and they said that 58% of the rapists, the perpetrators, are do not have Swedish origin. I don't think they counted people who are born in Sweden, although they have foreign origin. They could be born in Sweden. If they're born in Sweden, they're counted as Swedes. When it comes to aggravated rapes, they found that the number on the percentage is much higher. But this is based only on 843 cases.
Aggravated means with violence, like with great ferocity? Or?
What is called aggravated here is when they use, let's say, knives. There are many cases in which perpetrators are using knives, or they use bottles, sharp edges of glass to scare the victims and make them conform. Many of the victims have cut bellies and cut parts of their bodies while they are raped, and that is called an aggravated rape. Rapes where they haven't used any kind of weapon other than themselves are not called aggravated. Gang rapes are, there is no such term as gang rape in the Swedish legislation. So each person that is participating in the gang rape is convicted separately. They count it as separate rapes, so to say. So even if they did it simultaneously, the fact that they did it simultaneously does not really aggravate the rape. So you can't really see that there is no term that says gang rape. You just see that the same victim is involved in different court cases, in different verdicts, and then you understand that this was a gang rape.
So when they say that, is it 58%, I think you said, of these convictions for aggravated rape, or it was higher, I think, for the aggravated rape, were from people of non-Swedish origin? What percent?
Yes, not born in Sweden.
Not born in Sweden.
They will be born in Sweden and have foreign origin. That was not counted. So now, this is what the official media presented due to a lot of pressure, as the rapes are actually continuing. Constant rapes are happening all the time. They couldn't, although they removed me from university and they persecuted me in all universities. They wrote letters where they called me a Nazi and a right extremists, just because I engaged myself in this research with the gang rapes and the rapes. That is an incredible crime in my eyes, to call me that way and to persecute me all over, nationwide. And the university was doing it themselves. Not only the sort of state-supported organization that was persecuting me. The organization is called gömde. It means here.
It means what? I had a drop out there. What does it mean?
It means I'm here. This organization is called gömde, which means I'm here. And I didn't know anything about these people. I never heard of them. I couldn't even believe that anybody who has been working or is associated with an university would ever be part of an organization like this, because what they do is they censor people online. They shut down accounts. They shut down media, like citizen media, which are talking about politically problematic issues.
Right.
They shut them down by doing sort of swarm attacks. They attack the accounts until Facebook is forced to close them. And they have been doing this for a long time. Just I didn't know about it, as I didn't use Facebook. I was only on Twitter. So they this site, this Gang Rape Sweden site, and wanted to close the site. So I react to that and I say, why do you want to close this site? It's actually informing about something that no one else is informing about, and it's very, very important for us to act on it. Everybody is very concentrated on the numbers, on the quantity of the crimes, but they're not concentrated on the sadistic quality of the crimes. These people are attacking women on the streets in groups like 5, 6 people, and destroying their lives with unimaginable sexual sadism. One of the women that I first reacted to when I saw her, she posted her face, they had beaten her blue. Her entire face was swollen blue. Now they were raping her on the street as she was going home, not even in a very late hour. Now, in my world, if only one person was exposed to such extraordinary, extremely damaging, sadistic crime, they should immediately be removed. But this is not happening. They are not deported, they stay. And not only that they're not deported and stay, we have to fight for it. There are people who actually want them to stay among us. Number one. And number two, if they get convicted, their conviction verdicts are extreme. The sentences they get are extremely low. In some cases, they get 2 months for participating in a gang. In other cases, 3 months. In other cases, 8 months. And that brought me to the question of the age of the perpetrators. As they are migrants, and when they arrive freely in Sweden, there is no zero control. They often appear to have lied about their age. And they lie about their age because they know that when they commit a crime, they will get just a few months if they are under 18.
Yes, and we all know that the average 10-year-old likes to engage in aggravated gang rape with a broken bottle. I have to ask you, why, I'd like to know at some point, why did the university respond with such hostility when you were suggesting a research program which would ultimately lead to treatment of women who had been so sadistically and brutally abused, it looks like both by their rapists and by the state who's refusing to acknowledge they exist?
Yes, since then I have learned a lot about the situation in Sweden, because I asked myself the same question: what's the why aren't you interested in protecting women and children in Sweden? That is a very simple question. It shouldn't be a big issue. It should be a big issue to resolve, but it shouldn't be an issue that causes someone to be removed from universities and persecuted nationwide for. There is the explanation for this is that there is an entire network of activists who are part of the university, particularly in the communication departments of the universities in Sweden, who with impunity performing this kind of persecution of individuals. I am the worst case I know in Sweden in modern times of political persecution as a private person. I was tweeting as a private person. Yes, I am a person who has published books, and I have articles, and it is part of my persona that I am a scholar, but I am also a private person, and I have the right to have to discuss political issues, especially when we are voting. Why deny me that right with impunity? That is, there was no due process. There was no discussion. I was removed the same day that they received the letter from this I'm Here organization, which told them she's a Nazi and she's extremist. Have to remove her, and they immediately did it the same day. And then they started an entire persecution program, going from university to university. The same people, the main person from that organization that did that is Kajsa Klein, an activist, a long-term activist who has been involved in a Move On movement.
Yeah, George Soros is behind almost all of this, isn't he? So it was a activist at MoveOn.org, which I think is a George Soros-funded organization.
They were funded by him. She started something called Democracy Aid. What she did was she was collecting money from non-Americans to influence the election 2004 in the United States, which is illegal. So even MoveOn.org her and said, that's illegal, we cannot do this. So this woman has moved back to Sweden after that and started this kind of activism in Sweden. She has published articles, which I saw online in Open Democracy and site. And there she expresses outright extremely globalist views. She accuses Swedes for being parochial. They voted against the euro in 2003. She wants a global government. That's it. She doesn't want to have individual countries with their communities and their rights and their legislation. She wants to have one global government.
Which is Marxist, inevitably, yeah.
Yes, yes, it is, and it's in its extreme in its aggression towards anybody who they don't even know me. They met these people. They don't know anything about me. They never read me. You know, they never read my research. So the university approached that by issuing based on that. So these people are not involved with the university. They're not employed in the university, and yet the university, Stockholm University, started a political monitoring of my name everywhere online. What I say, who talks to me. And I was completely unaware of it, but I waited a little bit to see what they will do. And then I asked for their correspondence, the correspondence between this organization and these activists and the university. And they have the obligation to send me everything that has to do with my name. But they didn't send me all the data. All the emails. They send me some of the emails, but even what they send me, it's 100 pages correspondence. Even that shows the absolute disregard of any of my human rights as a private person, not to mention as a scholar.
Or your legal rights either, I would imagine, right? Your actual legal right. I would imagine Sweden has some kind of constitution, democratic constitution, which guarantees the rights of the individual against the state.
Yes, yes, of course it does. And then it does, but then what you see is, one of the things she wrote to the university was that she has police reported me for being a Nazi, or as they call it here, right extremists. And this has nothing to do with right extremists, because Nazis are not national socialists. They are socialists, they're leftists. So you cannot be right extremist and at the same time be a Nazi, because one is leftist and the other one is right.
Yes, and it's not a circle, it's a continuum, because people who are on the right believe in small government, individual rights, and letting people sort out their own, right of self-defense. You can't believe in government solving all your problems and controlling the population and be right-wing. You can't.
Exactly. And when they, here in Sweden, I don't know if it is the same in Canada, but this is a major semantic, linguistic double thing trick. They call everybody right-wing extremist or right extremist, and associate that with Nazism, and this is contradiction in terms. I'm not never been politically active. I have voted only once in Sweden, and it was for a party that had to do with freedom online. But to to throw such labels that are, I mean, to call someone a Nazi is almost like calling someone a criminal, a war criminal.
It is.
And they are throwing this around as if it's nothing, as if they completely disregard not only our rights but also history and historical facts. That the Nazis were sitting on the left side in the parliament in Germany, and what have Swedes to do with the German Holocaust? They have nothing to do with it today. None of us even thinks about it. But this is the kind of attack you're getting, and it has gotten so crazy that completely unknown to them person, just a person who is the gang rapes and verifying the data, is a person that they immediately throw out, label, and that's it. This is called career assassination. Not only character assassination, but the career assassination. I am unable to, I cannot get an employment anymore. And I was not allowed to even apply for a research project. There is no chance that I will get a research project as it is now. There is no change to this swamp of illegality. And this woman had also written to the universities that she has reported me to the police. So I went to the police, I gave them my ID, and I asked, could you please check my records? What am I reported? What have I done? What am I reported for? And there was no report. So she lied to my employers, all of them, that I am police reported when I'm not police reported. She went into the one of the biggest media here. It's called Dagens Nyheter, and this group has a direct connection to Dagens Nyheter that is constantly abusing people, like private people, for their political views. And they published lies. They said that they have nothing to do with this. She has never written a letter to the university, and she doesn't know what we're talking about. And she did it before I got all the emails. So I waited for her to come out and talk. And when she lied most blatantly, then I could show the actual emails and show clearly that she has written directly these letters to the university, and not only one university, but to other universities.
Wow.
And they are literally persecuting me and lying in mainstream media.
De har ingen rätt att bryta upp din dörr och hämta dig med våld, för att den inverkan de gör då, det är värre än det brott du själv är anklagad för. Så att jag visste det att i vanliga fall ska det inte gälla. Men sen å andra sidan visste jag att den här olagliga husrannsakan som du gjorde 2016, det var ju inte heller, följde inte heller lagen. Men så jag lät bli att öppna, jag filmade det, la ut det live på YouTube. Men de tog i alla fall med mig, men de var rätt civiliserade, de där snubbarna som kom då. Och jag blev DNA-topsad. Jag fick ingen förklaring till varför åklagarna begärt DNA-topsning på mig. För att mitt brott, det var ju att jag hade uttryckt mina åsikter på internet. Och jag tycker att, vad behöver man mitt DNA för? Ska man liksom sätta in det på internet och kolla, bara hon har skrivit det och det. Jag tror inte mitt DNA-spår finns på internet, men i alla fall. Andra gången däremot, då var de lite mer våldsamma. Då hade jag varit, för de... Återigen den här pedofila djurplågaren som har ett terrorhatnätverk, en för detta polis, kan inte nämna honom vid namn, men ni vet säkert vad jag pratar om. Han är helt besatt av mig, som sitter och massamäler hela tiden. Och det är på grund av hans anklagelser som jag har blivit hämtad så här polisen. Andra gången de kom, då borrade de mot min dörr, som de hade gjort. Och jag stod och väntade, jag tänkte följa med helt frivilligt. Jag filmade det här, jag hade övervakningskameror påslagna. Och de rusar in med dragna batonger och slår ner mig alltså slår mig på, alltså bokstavligen blodig. Det spräcktes, jag fick ett sår här på alltså käken när en av poliserna där slängde in mig i väggen mot ett köksskåp, så sprack det. De bände bak mina armar, de slängde på mig handbojor och verkligen spöskiter nu med bokstavligen. Och jag blev tagen till samma häkte där i vad heter nu, Kungsholmen. Jag får sitta där i förhör med den här värdegrundspolisen. Och då sa jag att jag vill polisanmäla det här för övervåld och att jag ville att en läkare skulle kolla på mig. Det fick inte jag. De vägrade att låta mig göra det, men däremot så sa den här kvinnan som tog emot oss, en liten... hon såg väldigt feministisk ut i alla fall. Hon jobbade där på värdegrundspolisen. Hon sa till de här som hade överfallit mig att de skulle säga att jag hade gjort våldsamt motstånd. Vilket jag såklart inte hade gjort. Och jag hade alltså övervakningskameror som filmade allt det här. Men de styrdes från min mobiltelefon och den tog de av mig när de arresterade mig. Och då sa jag så här, för efter mycket om och men så fick jag till slut se min advokat. Och då sa jag så här, jag vill visa de här filmerna för min advokat. Sen får ni ta min telefon, gör vad ni vill med det. De vägrade. Och så sa jag utvecklaren bara, jag hoppas filmerna finns kvar sen när jag får tillbaka den. Ja, vi får inte radera något från din telefon. Och jag bara, nej det vet jag, men jag hoppas ändå de finns kvar. Tror ni de fanns kvar sen när jag fick tillbaka telefon? Nej. Och jag misstänker även att de förmodligen har buggat min lägenhet. Jag har inga bevis för det här, men det är en känsla jag har. För de var nämligen, när de hämtade mig där, när de såg ner mig, då var det gick en av polismännen, de var 3 vuxna karar. 2 stycken som såg ut som de var ur baseballligan. Och det roliga var att alla andra har krävt legitimation på. Och de har visat legitimation, man har sett vad de har hetat. De här 2 som slog ner mig, en av dem upptäckte övervakningskameran. Han bara, har du övervakningskamera? Jag bara, kanske det, du vet, så flinar jag lite. Och så han bara, då blev de mycket snällare. Först var de skitbrutala. Och så sa jag, kan jag få se legitimation på er? Och det här är intressant, det här har jag aldrig sett. Om det är någon som vet, så är poliser här också runt omkring. Kanske kan berätta för mig sen. För de här killarna visar sina legitimationer. Det var bild på dem, det var polisstämpel. Men allting var svart över psyket. Så det var svart. Jag vet fortfarande idag inte vad de heter. Jag vet inte vad de har. Det stod något nummer där, men jag vet inte vilka de var. Så det känns som det här var inte vanliga poliser man skickade på mig den här gången. Och jag tänkte som sagt på baseballligan när jag såg dem. Men i alla fall, det som hände då. Jag hade ju lagt ut en video på YouTube där jag sa, där jag berättade om första gången de kom på röpdörren och berättade hur konstigt jag tyckte det var att man hade alltså man tar till sådana medel för ett åsiktsbrott. När man inte har möjlighet att gå och hämta gruppvåldtäktsmännen. Men om man har åsiktsbrott kommer man borra upp dörren. Eller pedofila djurplågare som sitter och massanmäler sådana som mig. Då kan man inte borra upp dörren och ta bort dem som plågar ihjäl djur och våldtar barn. Men mig kan man minsann komma och borra upp dörren för. Så jag tyckte det var lite så här konstigt. Men...
Det bör hon ju ha varit, ja.
När skulle hon då ha blivit...
vet jag inte.
Tagen av dagar som det som heter.
Vet jag inte.
Om inte jag minns fel så har vi förhört tillsammans, du och jag. Eller du har sagt till mig att det borde ha hänt under den natten du var på kyrkan.
Nej, det har jag inte sagt. Nu ljuger du som vanligt. Nu bryter vi.
Jag vet att
nu räcker det. Det är inte svårt. Jag vägrar sitta med en snutjävel som ljuger. Så enkelt är det.
Okay.
Du har ljugit i varje förhör som du blev inblandad i det här. Och du har gjort det medvetet. Du har suttit och hotat mig. Med mera.
Det räcker, Fredrik.
Vadå räcker? Är det svårt att höra sanningen om din kollega?
En fråga till. Du vidhåller fortfarande att du inte har gjort någonting med det här att göra?
Jag är oskyldig.
Du är oskyldig. Har advokaterna frågat?
Nej, men jag vill få ut samtliga sms som har tömt sig från Fredriks telefon.
Absolut.
Jag vill ha det materialet också, alltihop.
Det kommer i tilläggsprotokoll. Så
snart
snart
detta.
Så snart.
Ja, nej, absolut, det blir hela. Som sagt, det blir protokoll på det. Som i stort sett är färdigt. Och jag antar att vi ska ju skriva ut förhöret så fort som möjligt.
Ja, och jag godkänner bara på papper.
Då bryter vi.
Är du sugen på att suga? Många grisar här, vet du. Många grisar här, vet du. Många grisar. Alla borta som är i bilen. Ja. Och Tony Bandoras. Sluta lysa. Lys inte med ficklampan, nej.
Men du, jag ska se så alla.
Ja, men lys inte med ficklampan, fattar du?
Varför ska jag inte lysa med ficklampan?
Är du sugen på att suga? Ska du veta? Men det mannen. Är du sugen på att suga? Är du? Är du inte det? Säg till dem. Din lilla hora. Din lilla hora. Kom och ta mig då. Han. Är du sugen på suga? Suga? Är du inte det? Jag vet inte.
Titta på bilen istället.
En fråga bara. Är du sugen på suga? Är du inte det? En fråga. Är du sugen på suga? Är du inte det? En fråga bara. Är du sugen på att suga?
Du?
Är du inte det?
Men du?
Tati bror. Jag skulle fråga om han gillar suga. Det här är inte Sverige bror.
Sugen på suga?
Vad gör han mannen? Bögen. Han frågade innan han frågade också. Han frågade innan han frågade. Men han frågade. Varför håller ni mig så för? Ursäkta. Ja, men varför håller ni mig? Chilla. Han frågar, får jag fråga? Han sa ja. Det är hans fel då. Vi ska, men håll inte sådär. Okej. We have the camera. Vi